We have closed transactions across a broad swath of industries over a long period of time during economic booms and downturns. And the common point in all of them is an approach which is complete in its nature. We believe that each enterprise is unique, and each transaction is unique and deserves a tailored, almost bench-made approach to the transaction, working very closely with management. Not every transaction requires an auction. Certainly every transaction requires more than a memorandum that goes out to 100 people in an auction-like process, which is effectively commoditizing you. You are not a commodity. Don't be treated like one. You hire Mensura because we provide something the marketplace does not otherwise provide, which is a coordinating force. We manage every aspect of the transaction, from the legal to the due diligence to what the investment bankers traditionally do. Mensura engages in due diligence side by side with the due diligence firms, and my due diligence team coordinates due diligence firms in a manner that just simply isn't done with other investment banking firms. This is a critical distinguisher for Mensura. As an investment banker in the realm that we work in, sells to institutional investors, which includes private equity firms and strategic buyers. And in our world, we're our lower middle market sell-side investment banking firm. We've done transactions ranging from 20 million to 250 million. Mensura comes from a Latin phrase, mensura sortes, which means measured risk. There's an ancient book that discusses how do you predict the future? How do you measure the risk of something occurring and not occurring? The way that the book lays out is by gathering as much information on the subject matter as you can, analyzing it, understanding it, and creating a methodology for determining what is a probability of something occurring or not occurring. Translating that into business, we want to gather as much information as we can and understand a business from the bottom up. Our role is to take that, to put it in some form for the marketplace so that they can measure the risk of this transaction, and so that we can eliminate as much risk as we can for whoever is looking at the business. We act as a coordinating force to assuring that a deal closes while minimizing risk, and we're very successful at that. So for me, Mensura is not just the name of a company. It's an approach to being dedicated to providing complete analytical services from the bottom up of every critical aspect of what makes an enterprise great. The investment banking process, or an M&A process, or a sell-side M&A process, usually starts with the signing of an engagement letter, which may include or may not include an engagement fee, and then the requirement that a monthly fee get paid, and then success fee at the end. Once that engagement is signed, the investment banker has an exclusive relationship with their client to sell or find investment for that business, which is selling the business. And the first step is to package up, put together a package, usually referred to as a SIM, or a confidential information memorandum, which is approved by the client. And from that confidential information memorandum, the banker will distill it down into a one-page teaser or flyer. which probably does not mention the name of the company for confidentiality purposes. That teaser is sent to a well-established network of private equity investors and strategic investors. And if it looks like a promising transaction for them, one that would fit within their portfolios or within some strategic plan, then they will ask to sign a non-disclosure agreement, confidentiality agreement, and receive the CIM, or the confidential information memorandum. Based on that confidential information memorandum, they're given 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month at the most, in order to present an indication of interest, or an IOI. And that indication of interest will indicate a spread of valuations that the prospective buyer or investor is willing to give for this company. And that's the first screening from the auction. Those that meet the criteria of the seller are allowed to progress further. Those that are not allowed to progress further. They're kept out of the process. And the next step of the process is to meet management and to have a management meeting. And at this point in time, the prospective investors and buyers are going through what's referred to as operational due diligence, which is pretty much high-level diligence, asking the seller to answer questions relating to how management operates, what the customers are, answer questions relating to the financial performance of the company. It's operational due diligence. And based on that operational due diligence, which will include a management meeting or 2 or 3, and other questions, letters of intent are presented. Letters of intent are negotiated until you settle on one letter of intent, which is going to describe the price that they're willing to pay, the structure that they're willing to provide, and other attributes of a deal that would ultimately be baked into a final purchase agreement.